Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Continuing my conversation with my good friend Chris Kidd with chriskidd.com. That's Kidd, chriskidd.com. He is a financial coach extraordinaire, and one of the areas he loves helping and working in is in the whole sports and entertainment arena. And Chris, tell us a little bit more about what you do, and then introduce us to your guest today.
Well, I'm a financial coach and help people, basically be better with their money and get more out of it. I would work with people on the personal finance side, getting out of debt, kind of getting a handle on their finances so that they can extend it a little bit better, and also how that they can get into entrepreneurship and having their own business, and also understanding investments and how they work better. Very good. And your guest today? My guest today is Gil Haslam, and he is the creative director for Troika Design Group. And you're going to have to go to their website. The listeners definitely have to check it out. They do some amazing stuff. It's troika.tv, but it's TROIKA.tv. And we'll get back to that in a minute. But good to have you on, Gil.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate you having me on.
Why don't you start off by kind of give us the elevator speech for Troika? And where did you come up with that name? Make that part of your speech.
Yeah, the name Troika was interesting. The original name came from, there were three partners who actually launched the company, about 14 years ago. So it's a Russian terminology that's actually a nickname or a name for a harness device where three horses, each one have a different discipline. One looks left, one looks right, one's always looking straight ahead. And it's the unison of all three working together created a more cohesive approach to moving forward.
Okay, very good.
So the three, would that be the three brothers working together, or is that three areas of expertise?
It originally started out with three partners who came together. They used to work together, and there was a producer and two creative directors were the driving force behind the start of the company.
Interesting. Yeah. Chris, actually, why don't we start off by that website, TROIKA.com. And how old? .tv. Sorry about that. So, and why did you choose .tv? That raises a question in and of itself.
Yeah, so the Troika.tv is obviously geared towards our deep discipline inside of the entertainment media landscape, and Troika.tv was just kind of at the heart of what we did versus .com. So we just own that space in that website itself. So it was in the movement of the .tv, geared towards our discipline.
Very good.
Well, I've got a couple of things I'd want to get to, but give us a little overview of what Troika does, and that may be kind of difficult, like drinking from a fire hose, because it's huge. I remember going on the website and I was just blown away. But can you kind of give us a little overview of what Troika does?
Yeah, easy enough. So Troika, we're in the business of the entertainment and sports branding and marketing innovations. We're an agency that really sees the world and the media landscape through this the lens of entertain change. That's our kind of internal mantra that we walk by. We end up helping out brands. We've got different disciplines that we actually work through. Research and insights. A big part of ours are disciplines to be able to understand the audiences that we're trying to reach. We go into the next discipline, which is really strategy. So brand strategy is really bringing great focus to the business of a brand and what its objectives are. Then we move that into the next phase, which is really the creative. It's really bringing a brand to life, all the different touch points, brand expression, what it looks like, what it feels like, how it speaks. So there's a wide range of how we bring the creative to life. And then we're in the business of innovation. So we're always trying to push the boundaries, working with combinations of technology, creative, to be able to deliver that message. And for us to easily understand what the products that come out of that is when you actually look at a 360 marketing campaigns where you really get immersed inside of what a brand launch would look like. You're looking at an image spot that might air, a promotion that's driving you to a particular show, For us, we do a lot of show packagings, especially in the area of sports. So if you've ever watched Sunday Night Football or Thursday Night Football, or one of my favorites is still the ESPN Sports Center, anytime you tune in, you're seeing our product show up on the air. So that's show packaging. And then that can entail logo and identity work. So really what it, again, going back to what it looks like and feels like. And then a big part of our job, too, is to take a look at how sponsors are integrated in and around the shows and or the live events that we're actually packaging and putting forward to the audiences. So if that helped you guys understand, that's kind of it in a nutshell of what we do here at Troika.
Okay. Kind of give us an overview of all the types of entities that you guys work with. Great.
So we've got two sides of the house. There's really the entertainment side of the house, and our tradition and our core background was in broadcast media and the entertainment space. So launched with like an ABC entertainment, so the network look and feel, Fox, CW, A&E, Univision. So a lot of the big entertainment broadcast properties we would work with. Recently, we've been working with a lot of the new media groups that are starting to also understand the need to entertain and moving into that space. So Hulu's, Red Bull's, Amazon's now are starting to realize that need. And then, of course, a big part of our work and what I specialize in is really the sports. So, like I said, ESPN Sports Center, we've worked on launching brands for like Time Warner Cable, local regional network. Here we work with teams like the Jags, the Hornets, and the Lakers. So we work with a lot of different brands at all different levels that we have different functions and roles that we participate in with our partners.
Well, that's a perfect segue, Gil. Tell me a little bit about the Jaguar experience thing that you guys are doing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Jaguars, again, if we look at the lens that we work through as Entertain Change, the owner of the Jaguars really had a vision, and that's usually what we take and start with is when a brand or the leaders of a brand have a vision, right, and that's their North Star. So he said, what happens if I created something here that the city of Jacksonville could really rally around? So he built these amazing screens, two of the largest ones in the world, and to understand scale, one screen is longer than the length of the football field. Now wrap that on one end of the end zone and then duplicate it on the other end zone, and there lies what we'll call the ability to tell a story, right? So we've got these big screens, and then what our role was is they brought us in with our expertise of putting together show packaging and really delivering experiences to fans, and they said, Troika, how can you help us reimagine what a fan experience could be inside of a stadium? Of course, everybody's trying to drive revenue in their own places, so they needed to figure out a way to get more fans into the seats of the stadium. So our role is like, okay, we're great storytellers. Our job was to combine our on-air capabilities with looking at a live event and saying we need to orchestrate the whole day's event. So when do you look up at the screen? What stories are you being told? When do I look back down to the field? These screens are massive, and they really take the attention of your eye. And so what our job is to do is to tell great stories, orchestrate those stories to help either inform the fans there or entertain them or help sponsorships really kind of play a role inside of that whole experience. So our job, simply put, reimagine the fan experience for the Jaguars and their fans in Jacksonville. So fun assignment, dynamic, incredible. It was something like you've never seen. So if you haven't been down there, get down there and you'll see a new experience.
Tell us a little bit about the size of your organization.
Yeah, so the size of the organization, right now we are a core crew that has about 55 in number, but we also tailor fit to projects. So that's a key component to our company. Our owner has always been about great collaboration. So we have a core. We have partners who actually work inside of the same building and share a space. So these are, we've got an editorial group. We've got an agency that really drives innovation and technology with all the VR and the Oculus Rift experiences. We also have another group that's tied to more agency level approach. So we've got different partners who are inside of our company, but then we work with a large team of freelancers. So if we ever need great like concept sketch artists, we bring those in. If we need specialized writers, we bring those in. So we really kind of build a team around our core to really deliver the best product that we can for our clients and partners.
Gil, you're the second guy just recently to mention working with the Oculus Rift in the sports world. What kind of things are y'all doing with that?
Yeah, so right now the Oculus Rift I think is going to really have a huge impact. And in fact, if you're looking down at the Jags, I know we've been in conversations about how do they continue to build on driving a new experience for their fans. So imagine if you show up at the stadium and you're sitting there in pregame mode. What happens if you want to be able to see the game from different perspectives? You can kind of find your own camera. You can drive a unique experience. If we're at fan expos, right, we're going to actually start to build out experiences at fan expos that it could feel like you could be inside of a Hall of Fame and being able to see yourself around those worlds and go back into the historic archives, and video will roll. So there's all different modes that this Oculus Rift can deliver different storytelling. And our role right now is we call them our think tanks, is really pushing clients to think about how they could deepen their fan engagement at live events. There's also a certain aspect when people will start to be able to be at home and start to get those same camera views. So that's still some future about how teams and brands are going to start to work with the Oculus once it hits market a little more solid. I think you're going to see a lot of storytelling and a lot more extension of brand experiences for teams and for fans. So it's going to be some exciting stuff. We're pretty much on some of the cutting edge of how to build some of those experiences right now.
You talked quite a bit about the type of client you guys work with. What are the size in terms of revenues, in terms of mid-market, enterprise? What's the size range?
The size range as far as the projects that we are driven here, or for the actual product itself of what they're driving in their side?
No, for your clients.
Yep. So obviously, the thing that we look at is when the rights deals that have been in place. So if you look at the Time Warner, I mean, you're talking about billion-dollar acquisitions of rights to the Lakers, to the Dodgers, and to the Galaxy. So their large investment inside of the rights deals are massive. And then our job is to really kind of come in there and help. They still have to be able to drive a return on investment, or definitely a return on interest of their brand itself. So our job is to come in there and leverage, those live events and find new opportunities to maintain that fan engagement and lengthen the time. Some of our roles are to move fans up the avidity ladder, increase viewership, attention and or acquisition and retention for things like Time Warner. Fill the seats, simple enough, or sometimes just enrich the viewing experience. So they have large investments in these properties, and now I think you're seeing this spike of live events and people really jumping into it. So if we look at probably the latest emergence is boxing. Everybody's in the fight game. Before, it was only a few people in it. Now everybody's in the fight game, and Al Heyman breaking out his new boxing thing, and it's showing up on all these different networks. We got Mayweather-Pacquiao fight coming up, which we're working in combination with HBO and Showtime on a package that's coming up on May 2nd. So it's amazing. Live events are essential to sports fans, and nothing like the unscripted drama.
Yeah, and so you're definitely, obviously, largely enterprise-level companies are your primary clients.
Yeah, our primary clients are the actual media brands that and or teams. So again, we could be working with a team, a league, an organization. So that's on one level. But our core, because we come from the entertainment and broadcasting side, is more the ESPN, the rights holders. Is a large portion of our product that we work with and our partners that we work with.
Why don't you wind it down for us, Chris? Another question.
Well, you mentioned boxing, and I think everybody in the world is waiting on the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight right now. Do you guys do any work with like UFC or any mixed martial arts? Are y'all going into that area at all yet, or is that still too small? Well, actually, it's getting to be pretty big, but I know it's just still not on the size of boxing. But
Yeah, so to go into the fight game. So we've been working inside of boxing for quite a bit. We've been a long-term partner with HBO, helping them kind of realign all their brands. But moving into the mixed martial arts and the combat sports world, not able to talk about what we're actually working on, but I think we're in great proximity to the brand that you just talked about, and talk about entertaining change. There's going to be some amazing things happening in that world. I think you've seen some news about how Reebok is now becoming a true sponsor to UFC. I think you're starting to see some more attention, global reach. So again, once you have a great product and it's a live sports event, you just need to find the fans, move the fans up that avidity ladder, and introduce that sport to people who might not have seen it in a certain way. So again, that's how our partners come in and say, how do you help navigate all those challenges that we face? And that's where we can come through the door and as a partner, bring our experience and our expertise to the table and align ourselves with their business goals and really kind of help them drive and move the needle.
Gil, thanks so much. Did you have something else?
I was going to ask, are there any surprises or any really cool stuff that is going to be coming out this year in either when the NFL comes back or anywhere in sports this year that we'll see that'll be new from previous years?
I think if we look at the landscape, I'd say that one of the biggest surprises, and we're still quite interested in it, is really the movement towards gambling being accepted with some of these big organizations. I mean, NBA, being able to tap into different organizations. The NFL still keeping their arms at length. So I'd say that's a unique surprise of gambling tied to sports entities and leagues participating in that. I think the other big movement is really going to start to look at some of the over-the-top subscription services. What does that start to look like? When do leagues want to start to, take some of that revenue directly to themselves and still share some of their rights? So I think in the future, I think you're going to start to see some carving out of some of these over-the-top services and direct-to-client opportunities. When you look at something like a UFC and there's a pay-per-view, setup, how do they get the pay-per-view purchased directly to them versus going through another vendor? So I think there's some movements in those two areas that I think you're going to see continue to happen.
All right. With that, we got to wrap it up. Very good stuff. Thanks so much for being with us.
Excellent. Well, thank you for having me. It was great.
Bet.
Thank you.
And I do want to remind a listener, Troika, TROIKA.TV. And, of course, Chris Kidd. You can learn more about him at chriskidd.com. And when we come back, much more for you right here. Oh, actually, when we come back tomorrow, much more for you right here on The Price of Business.